And welcome back to Out of the Fog. Well, in Budget 2016, the annualized amount for the Provincial Information and Library Resource Board cut by $1 million. The impact, 54 libraries will close throughout the province. 41 will remain open under a new regional library model, which will be implemented over 2 years. And joining me now to share their thoughts on this news is the past president of the Newfoundland and Labrador Libraries Association, Catherine Lawton, and the current president, Amanda Tiller-Hackett. Welcome to Out of the Fog. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yes, so nice to be here under not so, I guess, nice news in regards to libraries across Newfoundland and Labrador. Let's just start with what your initial thoughts were when you first heard about the libraries closing, Amanda.
Well, it was certainly upsetting. I knew that it would be upsetting on a national level as well, and we weren't surprised by the fact that we've gotten support from the Canadian Library Association and provinces across all the way across Canada and in the States now too. So, you know, it was just very upsetting. It means cuts to some services that the people of our province depend on.
Were you surprised by the amount of
It was really shocking. It was $1 million cut. And to put it in perspective, the libraries, Newfoundland Public Libraries, was cut over $1 million in years previous as well. So what was already underfunded has become severely underfunded. And, you know, to lose 54 libraries across the province, particularly all rural libraries, is a huge loss to the province.
Right. When you speak of the support that you've gained through other associations and organizations and, I guess, authors, international or national news that you're talking about now, what does that say to you in regards to the importance of libraries?
It says that this decision that's been made is not a sound one. It says that, you know, not just in our province but beyond as well, everyone recognizes that this is just not the way to run a successful provincial public library system. And we have everyone behind us verifying that. That opinion is the correct one. So we've been really trying to get that message across to government. It's not just the fact that the branches are closing. It's a matter of the funding that's been lost, and I think we need to emphasize that as well. I think our public library system has been chronically severely overfunded for years now. So it's, you know, and this is even worse. So they've almost added fuel to the fire.
I just wanted to get your input on this.
I'm fascinated actually because, you know, watching the groundswell of support from all people in the province. I mean, and across the country. I mean, it started first with the librarians, of course, being upset by it, and immediately, as soon as we were putting, you know, our points of view out on Facebook and Twitter, all of a sudden you have, you know, students and authors and teachers and people who remember, you know, go to the library, senior citizens, people who are retired and, you know, use the library as a place to go. All these people are throwing in their support and realizing this is a huge loss. It's and it affects everybody.
Just expand a little bit on that, because, you know, some people, you know, I guess people have said, you know, libraries aren't utilized. Some libraries are very underutilized, but in other communities, they are kind of the hub of the community. People just don't go there to just, you know, rent a book. There are computer services and so on. So what is the importance of libraries within a community?
A lot of times I mention that the libraries are underutilized. Well, if you know, the libraries have been chronically underfunded. So some of the libraries were open as little as 8 hours a week. So it's kind of hard for a library to show high usage statistics when it's only open 8 hours a week. And then you have other communities with only 400 or 500 people living there, and yet the internet access, people using the Wi-Fi hub from the library is up in the thousands. So obviously the libraries are used for more things than just checking books out. There are other activities that, you know, people use the library as a community hub. They're, you know, checking, you know, they're using the library computers for checking their emails and paying their bills and renewing their license applications, all kinds of things.
They're often the only source of internet for a community. So how could members of a community make use of this ebooks program that they're promoting if they've lost their only internet connection?
Let's talk a little bit more about this, because there is going to be a new model, I guess, being rolled out, and it's going to roll out in the next 2 years. What are your thoughts on what's being, I guess, you know, implemented?
Well, yeah, they're moving to a regional model, And I think we have yet to hear the details of that. It's been very unclear, and I'm still waiting to see what that could possibly mean.
And we heard about 30 minutes. It won't take anybody longer than 30 minutes to travel to.
The number that they quoted was 85% of the province would be able to access their nearest library within a 30-minute drive. But of course, that's not feasible. That's not, we can't expect people to still be able to afford vehicles if they could before with this budget. With the increased gas taxes, increased insurance costs, and all those things. And, even if they could, is it reasonable to expect people to do that? And libraries are more than just remotely, the things that you can access remotely. They're about programs for seniors and children and literacy, and we have the lowest literacy rate in the country. New Brunswick has recently increased their funding to libraries to increase literacy, and our government is saying that these library cuts won't affect literacy, and we all know the difference. I think they need to listen to the people, listen to librarians, library workers, library users, just the community who people use the library and know better.
Catherine, what are your thoughts on that when you just think of literacy and what Amanda's saying in terms of they're saying that it probably they're looking to hopefully not have literacy affected by this, but we do have a very low rate.
We do, and people don't realize, but if you're not, if you think that libraries are not being used because you never checked a book out, you probably haven't gone to a library recently and realized that there's waiting lists for children's story hours, and it's been shown that children, the young children attending story hours, that helps with early literacy right there. And these, if the libraries aren't available for children to go for these story hours, for example, then that's, and for a parent to strap a couple kids in a car seat and drive 30 minutes to go to a library far away from their own community is quite a difficult thing to do. And there's also the students who've had to do library, projects for their school heritage fairs and have used the libraries to get information. And not everything that's available online, on the internet is necessarily valuable. It is valuable, but it's not necessarily accurate. Whereas the libraries have carefully collected information to help people that couldn't do their school projects and do research on whatever they need. So
we have just about 30 seconds left, but I just want to know, what is it that, given this obviously situation that you're in, what is it that you would like to see moving forward?
I would like to see the branches remain open and adequately funded to national standards. Per capita, the national standard is actually $5.42, and we're looking into the exact number for our province. We're trying to figure out how to determine that. We've heard somewhere quoted around $1.27, $1.25. That's severely, and this is before the cuts. So I think it takes more than keeping the libraries open. They need to be adequately funded. We need a public library system that's on par with the rest of our country.
Okay, we'll have to leave there. I want to thank you both very much for joining me this evening.
thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we are going to take a very short break, but we'll be right back. Still more to come here tonight on Out of the Fog.